Lotus Sutra Part 1, The Door to Enlightenment Opens. Hello everyone. Starting today, we're going to take a journey together into the world of the Lotus Sutra, which is the most magnificent and beautiful of all Buddhist scriptures. The Lotus Sutra is called the King of all sutras. While other scriptures contain partial truths, the Lotus Sutra contains complete teachings that bring together all those truths into one. What makes the Lotus Sutra special for us living in modern times is that this scripture doesn't just stay in otherworldly teachings. Instead, it offers deep answers to our everyday worries, difficulties in human relationships, and problems with communication. The reason this sutra, written 500 years ago, still gives us fresh comfort and wisdom today is exactly because of this. The story we're going to share today is divided into 3 main parts. First, we'll look at the mysterious scenes from the opening chapter that show us the situation where the Lotus Sutra was taught. Next, we'll explore the deep wisdom of the chapter on skillful means, which shows us why Buddha taught using so many different methods. Finally, through the story of a father saving his children from a burning house, we'll deeply feel what true love and wisdom really are. I hope all these teachings won't just be religious doctrine, but will become practical wisdom that solves the real problems in our lives. Please relax your hearts and join us. Mysterious signs unfold. The Lotus Sutra begins like this. This is what I heard. At one time, the Buddha was staying on Vulture Peak near the city of Rajagriha, together with a great gathering of 12,000 monks. They were all arhats, people who had ended all their troubles, whose minds were free, and who had attained liberation. Just hearing this opening, doesn't your heart feel peaceful already? Picture Buddha and 12,000 enlightened disciples gathered together on the beautiful mountain called Vulture Peak. Vulture Peak is an actual mountain that still exists in India today. It got its name because many eagles live there. Eagles are birds that soar high and can see far into the distance. So this great teaching began in a place that symbolizes the wisdom to look at life from such a high and deep perspective. The number 12,000 also has deep meaning. This isn't just showing a large number. It represents completeness. It shows people from different backgrounds, with different personalities and abilities, coming together in harmony before one truth. This has very important meaning for us living in today's diverse society too. We often have conflicts because we think differently from others and have different values. At work, at home, and in relationships with friends, we struggle because we can't understand each other. But the beginning of the Lotus Sutra tells us that even people who are different from each other can become one at a deeper level. It says that true understanding and harmony are possible. The Western philosopher Jürgen Habermas presented the conditions that make genuine dialogue possible through his, quote, theory of communicative action. He believed that true communication happens when 3 conditions are met: mutual understanding, truthfulness, and legitimacy. This scene in the Lotus Sutra shows exactly this kind of ideal communication community. The German philosopher Hans-Georg Gadamer said through his concept of fusion of horizons that when different perspectives meet, new understanding is born. The meeting between Buddha and his disciples the gathering of practitioners from different backgrounds. This is exactly that kind of place where horizons fuse. The sutra continues by describing an even more mysterious situation. At that time, the world-honored one was surrounded by countless bodhisattvas and was teaching the Dharma. It was a teaching called the Samadhi of Infinite Meanings. Soon he entered into Samadhi, and his body and mind became completely still. This shows Buddha entering deep meditation. The Samadhi of Infinite Meanings means a meditation that contemplates infinite meanings. It's a deep state where one truth contains infinite meanings and possibilities. We could say this is the highest level of what we experience as being absorbed or in the zone in daily life. This connects with what modern psychologist Csikszentmihalyi calls the flow state. It's a state of complete concentration where you lose track of time because you're so absorbed, where self-consciousness disappears and action and awareness become one. It's the state that artists experience when completely immersed in their work, that athletes feel when totally focused on their game, that scholars enter when deeply engaged in research. You've probably had experiences like this too. When you're completely absorbed in something you really love, when having a deep conversation with someone you care about, when looking at beautiful nature, times when you felt like time had stopped. Those moments are small tastes of this Samadhi of infinite meanings. Then amazing things begin to happen. At this time, from the sky, mandala flowers, great mandala flowers, manjusaka flowers, and great manjusaka flowers rain down like rain, scattering over the Buddha and the assembly. The entire 3,000 great thousand-world system shook in 6 ways. Mandala flowers mean heavenly flowers, and manjusaka flowers mean flowers of joy. When truth is about to be proclaimed, the entire universe rejoices and gives its blessing. The 6 kinds of shaking means vibrating in all directions: north, south, east, west, up and down, meaning this teaching brings change in every dimension. You might dismiss these mysterious descriptions as just religious fantasies, but they contain deep psychological truth. When we experience genuine enlightenment or deep inspiration, we really do feel like the world looks different. When we fall in love, when a child is born, when we have an important realization, we really do feel like flower petals are raining down and the world is vibrating. Carl Jung called experiences like this archetypal experiences. Experiences that go beyond individual experience to a deep level that all humanity shares. The religious scholar Rudolf Otto called this the numinous, the trembling and awe that comes from encountering the sacred. There have probably been moments like this in your life, too. Times when you received deep inspiration, experienced a turning point in life, felt true love, when the world looked completely different. Please treasure those moments. They are your personal experiences of the mysterious signs that the Lotus Sutra talks about. Even more amazing things continue. At that time, a light emerged from the white hair between the Buddha's eyebrows, illuminating 18,000 Buddha lands in the eastern direction, reaching down to the hell of uninterrupted suffering, and up to the highest heaven, lighting everything clearly. What does this light from Buddha's white hair symbol mean? This represents the light of wisdom and the light of compassion. The fact that it shines on all beings from the darkest hells to the highest heavens without discrimination means that Buddha's compassion never gives up on any being. The number 18,000 also has deep meaning. This is a symbolic number representing infinity. It means Buddha's teachings transcend time and space and reach everywhere. The proof is that these teachings that began in India 500 years ago have come down to us today and continue to give us comfort and wisdom. In this light, the forms of all living beings can be seen. In that light, all the living beings of these worlds could be seen, and also the present Buddhas of those places teaching the Dharma could be observed. This shows the truth of interdependence, that all beings are connected. For me to do well, others must also do well. When I suffer, that suffering also affects others. This is the same context as what modern ecology and systems theory call the butterfly effect. The German philosopher Martin Buber said through his relational philosophy of I and thou, that genuine encounters happen when we treat each other as subjects, not objects. Buddha's light shining on all beings shows exactly this kind of ultimate subject-to-subject relationship. The French philosopher Emmanuel Levinas explored the source of ethics through the face of the other. He believed that the infinite sense of responsibility we feel when facing another person's face is the starting point of true ethics. Buddha seeing all living beings is exactly an expression of this kind of infinite responsibility and compassion. You've probably had experiences like this too. When truly looking at someone you love, that person's happiness becomes your happiness and their pain becomes your pain. The heart with which parents look at their children, the heart with which lovers look at each other, this contains the seeds of this kind of undiscriminating love. Witnessing these mysterious phenomena, the assembly falls into deep questioning. Especially Maitreya Bodhisattva asks Manjushri Bodhisattva about the meaning of all these events. At this time, Manjushri Bodhisattva says that similar things happened in the past, and these are signs that great teachings are about to be proclaimed. What we can learn from this scene is the importance of good questions. Maitreya Bodhisattva doesn't just treat the mysterious phenomena as a spectacle, but seriously asks about their meaning. Manjushri Bodhisattva interprets the present based on past experience and predicts the future. Socrates said through his knowledge of ignorance, I know that I don't know, that the beginning of true wisdom lies in good questions. Modern education also emphasizes learners, active questioning, rather than one-way knowledge transmission. Jean Piaget, the father of constructivist education, said that true learning happens when we face cognitive conflict, situations that can't be explained by existing knowledge. Don't be afraid to question things in your life, too. Seriously ask questions like, why do these things happen? What meaning does this situation have for me? What do I really want? Good questions already contain half the answer. It's also important to wisely use past experience. Just as Manjushri Bodhisattva explained the present by citing past examples, we too can apply lessons learned from past experience to solving present problems. However, we also need the flexibility to remain open to new possibilities without being trapped in the past. Stability encountering the deep wisdom of skillful means. Now Buddha emerges from meditation and begins his main teaching. This is the start of the chapter on skillful means. At that time, the world-honored one arose from Samadhi and spoke to Shariputra. The wisdom of all Buddhas is profound and immeasurable. The door to this wisdom is difficult to understand and hard to enter, so that it cannot be known by any of the voice-hearers or Pratyeka Buddhas. This statement is a humble confession acknowledging the depth and complexity of truth. It's arrogant to think that all truth in the world can be explained by just one method. Because people understand things differently and can accept different levels, various approaches are needed. Howard Gardner, who developed the, quote, theory of multiple intelligences in modern education, believed that human intelligence isn't a single thing, but consists of several types: linguistic intelligence, logical mathematical intelligence, musical intelligence, spatial intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, naturalistic intelligence, and others. Therefore, education should also be done in various ways. Buddha's wisdom of skillful means is exactly in this context, too. Since not everyone can understand truth in the same way, we must use appropriate methods suited to each person's level and inclination. Buddhas appear in the world for one great reason only: to cause living beings to open and gain purity in their Buddha knowledge, to show living beings their Buddha knowledge, to cause living beings to awaken to their Buddha knowledge, and to cause living beings to enter the path of Buddha knowledge. This is why Buddha appeared in this world, to help all beings discover the Buddha wisdom that already exists within them. These 4 stages called opening, showing, awakening, and entering show the process of enlightenment: opening, showing, causing to awaken, and causing to enter. This is very similar to the process in modern counseling psychology. In Carl Rogers' humanistic counseling, the counselor's role is seen as helping to manifest the growth potential that already exists within the client. It's not about solving problems for them, but helping clients find the power to solve things themselves. It's the same in education. In constructivist education, the teacher's role isn't to transmit knowledge, but to be a facilitator who helps learners construct knowledge for themselves. Socrates' method of midwifery is in the same context. Since truth already exists within the soul, education's purpose is to draw it out. You can apply this wisdom in your human relationships too. When trying to help others, don't try to change them according to the way you want. Instead, discover and encourage the good things that already exist within that person. Whether parents educating children, supervisors guiding subordinates, or comforting friends or lovers, this kind of attitude is needed. Recognizing the other person's current level and approaching them with appropriate methods suited to that level, this is the wisdom of skillful means. Even with the same content, you need to convey it differently depending on the other person's personality, situation, and ability to understand. Buddha continues by explaining how he used various skillful means in the past. Shariputra, the Tathagata is fully equipped with the power of skillful means and the power of wisdom, and is sovereign over all dharmas. Therefore, using various causes, parables, and expressions, he teaches the Dharma for living beings. 3 methods are presented: causes, parables, and expressions. Causes means considering the other person's situation and background. Parables means giving easy-to-understand examples. Expressions means using appropriate ways of communication. Modern communication theory takes a similar approach. For effective communication, you need to comprehensively consider not just the content of the message, but also the method of delivery, the other person's situation, and the context of the relationship. Paul Watzlawick's communication theory emphasizes that, quote, relationship is more important than content. The same words can have completely different meanings depending on who says them, when, in what situation, and in what tone. Buddha's skillful teaching methods are exactly this kind of delicate art of communication that considers relational context. How can we apply this wisdom in daily life? For example, let's say your child isn't studying. Some parents might say, you need to study to get into a good university and get a good job. Others might say, studying is enjoyable. Still others might say, you need basic skills to do what you want to do. Which is the right answer? According to the Lotus Sutra's teaching on skillful means, the right answer depends on that child's personality and situation. For a goal-oriented child, the first method might be more effective. For a curious child, the second method. For an independent-minded child, the third method might work better. It's the same at work. Even when giving the same task instructions, you need to approach differently based on the employee's experience, personality, and current situation. New employees need specific step-by-step explanations, while experienced employees might do better if you just present the goal and let them figure out the method. It's the same in marriage or romantic relationships. You need to know what the other person's love language is. Some people like verbal expressions, others prefer being shown through actions, and others treasure spending time together most. Buddha says, Shariputra, that Tathagata teaches the Dharma for living beings using only the one Buddha vehicle. There is no second or third vehicle. This is one of the core messages of the Lotus Sutra, the teaching of three vehicles returning to one vehicle. The three practice methods of voice hearers, Pratyekabuddhas, and Bodhisattvas all eventually lead to the same destination of becoming a Buddha. They look like different paths, but they lead to the same destination. This provides important wisdom for dialogue between religions and communication between cultures too. When people of different religions or cultures conflict, rather than focusing only on surface differences, look for common ground at a deeper level. The modern religious scholar Houston Smith said the roots of religions are one. Though the ways of expression are different, ultimately what they all pursue is truth, love, and peace. The religious scholar John Hicks saw all religions as different paths toward ultimate reality through religious pluralism. This perspective is needed in daily life, too. When meeting people with different political views, different tastes, different values, rather than judging them as wrong, we need to recognize them as different and try to find commonalities within that difference. Parent-child conflicts can be approached from this perspective, too. Older and younger generations inevitably have different values because they grew up in different environments and had different experiences. But they're the same in wanting happy and meaningful lives, only the ways of expression are different. Buddha explains the necessity of skillful means like this. Because all living beings have different natures, desires, actions, memories, and ways of thinking, I have taught various dharmas using various causes, parables, and words. This statement contains deep wisdom about respecting individual differences. Each person has different inborn temperaments different life experiences, and different interests and abilities. Therefore, even the same truth must be conveyed differently. This aligns with modern psychology's theories of individual differences, too. Jung's personality typology divides people into introverted and extroverted types, thinking and feeling types, sensing and intuitive types, saying that approaches suited to each characteristic are needed. The MBTI personality test is also based on this theory. Learning style theory also emphasizes that there are visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic learners, so learning methods suited to each should be provided. Some people understand well through pictures or charts, others need verbal explanations, and others need to learn by doing. You should understand your own characteristics well and find methods that suit you. Also accept and respect others' differences. The way I like might not suit others, and the way I understand might be different from how others understand. That's not wrong. It's just different. Buddha also shares past experiences. Shariputra, since I attained Buddhahood, I have taught extensively using various causes and parables, and have guided living beings with countless skillful means to help them leave all attachments behind. The expression, countless skillful means, is impressive. Buddha didn't stubbornly stick to one method, but used infinitely varied methods according to the situation. It's a wisdom of flexibility, maintaining principles while adjusting methods to fit circumstances. This is similar to situational leadership in modern management. Effective leaders appropriately use various leadership styles, directing, coaching, supporting, delegating, depending on their subordinates, maturity level, and the situation. It's the same in families. You need to adjust parenting methods according to the child's age and maturity. Small children need clear rules and warm protection, but teenagers need appropriate autonomy and trust. Adult children might be better served by parents acting as advisors and friends. It's the same in friendships. Some friends want honest advice, others want warm comfort, and others just want you to quietly stay by their side. True friendship is expressing love in the way the other person wants. Manaparancha, love that saves from the burning house. Now we come to one of the most famous parables in the Lotus Sutra, the parable of the burning house. This story isn't just a simple fable, but a deep treasury of wisdom showing us the essence of our lives and what true salvation really is. There was a man somewhere who was already old in years and possessed immeasurable wealth, with many fields, houses, and servants. His house was large and spacious, but it had only one gate. Many people lived in it, 100, 200, or even 500 people. This wealthy man represents Buddha, and the large house represents this world we live in, the three realms. Having only one gate means the path to liberation is unique. The many people living there represent all the living beings in this world. Being old in years represents Buddha's immeasurable wisdom and experience. Having immeasurable wealth means infinite merit and compassion. The fields, houses, and servants symbolize the various teachings and skillful means that Buddha has prepared for living beings. But the house was old and decaying, leaning here and there. The foundation pillars were rotting at their bases, and the beams and rafters were tilting dangerously. The house being old and decaying shows the imperfection of the reality we live in. No matter how glamorous and safe life might appear on the surface, It's essentially impermanent and unstable. We can connect this with the various anxieties that modern people experience. Economic instability, environmental problems, conflicts in human relationships, worries about health, fears about the future, all of these are like the condition of this old house. It looks safe on the outside, but is actually an unstable state that could collapse at any time. This connects with the German sociologist Ulrich Beck's concept of risk society. Modern society has become affluent through scientific and technological development, but at the same time, new kinds of risks have emerged. Nuclear accidents, environmental disasters, financial crises, unpredictable risks threaten our lives. We can also think of the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard's concept of anxiety. Humans feel anxiety because they are free. The burden of constantly having to decide what to choose and how to live creates anxiety. Suddenly, fires broke out simultaneously in various places, surrounding the house. The fire breaking out means the actualization of suffering. Potential dangers have become actual reality. The sufferings that Buddhism talks about, birth, aging, sickness, death, the pain of separation from loved ones, the pain of encountering unwanted situations, the pain of not getting what you want, all correspond to this fire. This also connects with what modern psychology calls stress or trauma. Sudden accidents, illness, unemployment, breakups, death. These events are like fires being set in our lives. The stress that Hans Selye defined as the reaction that appears when an organism tries to adapt to threatening situations is exactly like this situation where fire has broken out. The wealthy man saw these great fires breaking out from all directions and became alarmed and frightened, thinking, "Although I can escape through this burning gate, my children are absorbed in playing inside the burning house and don't realize, know, become alarmed, or feel afraid." Even though the fire is already touching their bodies and they're suffering pain, they have no feeling of dislike in their hearts and no intention of coming out. This part is very important. The children are in a dangerous situation but don't realize it. This shows our situation of not accurately grasping the causes of our suffering. This exactly matches modern people's condition. We're addicted to smartphones but don't think it's a problem. We suffer from overwork but consider it natural. We're buried in consumerism but mistake it for the path to happiness. This also relates to defense mechanisms like denial or rationalization in psychology. When it's hard to admit there's a problem, we unconsciously deny that problem or try to justify it. The wealthy man, the father, falls into a dilemma about what to do. Shariputra, this wealthy man, thought, "My body has strength, so I could use a sedan chair or couch to carry the children out on my back." Then he thought again, "This house has only one gate, and it's narrow and small. The children are young and don't understand yet, absorbed in their play. They might fall into the fire." He first thinks of using force to save them, but soon realizes this would be dangerous. This shows the limitations of authoritarian and coercive methods. True salvation cannot be accomplished by force. It's the same in education. No matter how good the content, forcing it only creates resistance. In counseling, too, it's important to wait until the client realizes things for themselves. Even when someone you love is going the wrong way, it's more effective to help them realize it themselves rather than trying to stop them by force. So he used skillful means and spoke to the children. You have various toys that you like, rare and hard to get. There are goat carts, deer carts, and ox carts right outside the gate. Come out and play. I'll make whatever you want. Finally, skillful means appears. It's the wisdom of leading them from a dangerous place to a safe place by attracting them with things the children would like. The goat carts, deer carts, and ox carts represent the vehicles of voice hearers, pratyeka Buddhas, and bodhisattvas, respectively. This connects with the psychology of motivation, too. People act more actively when they want something themselves rather than when they're forced. Research has proven that intrinsic motivation is more powerful and lasting than extrinsic motivation. Modern marketing uses this principle too. Rather than trying to sell products directly, they approach by understanding customers' desires and needs and presenting ways to fulfill them. Pull strategies that naturally attract are more effective than push strategies that force. You can apply this wisdom in daily life too. When your child doesn't want to study, rather than forcing them, saying you must study, it might be more effective to say, if you learn this, you'll be able to make the games you like even better. It's the same in marriage. Rather than directly pointing out things to change your partner, it's wiser to create an environment where your partner wants to change themselves. At that time, when the children heard about these rare and wonderful toys, they immediately wanted to rush out, and pushing and competing with each other, all ran outside together. The skillful means works. The children escaped from the dangerous place because they wanted to themselves. This is what true education and healing look like. They didn't come out by force, but came out because they wanted to. At that time, when the wealthy man saw that the children had all come out safely and there was nothing to hinder him, he sat peacefully in the open space, his heart filled with joy. True love is rejoicing together when the other person is safe and happy. The wealthy man's joy isn't arrogance about his own achievement, but pure joy that his loved ones are safe. It's like the heart when parents rejoice in their children's success, teachers rejoice in their students' growth, doctors rejoice in patients' recovery. This kind of joy comes from love that transcends the self. At that time the children said to their father, "Father, please give us now the toys you promised before, the goat carts, deer carts, and ox carts." Shariputra, at that time the wealthy man, gave each of the children equally a large cart. These carts were high and spacious, decorated with various jewels. He gives them something better than what he promised. This shows that Buddha's compassion far exceeds our expectations. What the children wanted were small toy carts, but what the Father gave them were real large carts. This means that God's grace or Buddha's compassion is a great blessing that far surpasses our small wishes. When we seek small happiness, we're given true enlightenment and liberation. We can have experiences like this in reality too. Sometimes when we work hard with small goals, we achieve much greater results than expected. Or sometimes, while going through difficult times, we gain not just escape from those difficulties, but deeper wisdom and maturity. We can have this kind of heart for our loved ones too. While fulfilling the small things they want, we need the wisdom to sometimes do even things they don't want for their greater happiness and growth. Buddha explains the meaning of this parable like this. Shariputra, I am also like this, being the father of all living beings. When I see countless millions of living beings suffering for immeasurable eons, afraid, worried, suffering, foolish, and in darkness, burning in the burning house of the three realms with the sufferings of birth, aging, sickness, death, worry, anxiety, suffering, foolishness, and ignorance, I want to teach them the supreme enlightenment to help them escape from such suffering. This is where Buddha calls himself the father of all living beings. It means universal love and unconditional compassion that transcends blood relationships. He loves all beings with the same heart that parents love their children. The expression burning house of the three realms also has deep meaning. The desire realm, form realm, and formless realm, all realms of existence are essentially realms of suffering. No matter how high a level, if it's not ultimate liberation, it still has limitations. In modern terms, this means that material abundance, intellectual achievement, spiritual experiences, whatever it might be, as long as you're attached to it, complete freedom isn't possible. True liberation is possible only when you're free from all attachments. Birth, aging, sickness, and death are the four fundamental sufferings of life. The suffering of being born, the suffering of growing old, the suffering of getting sick, the suffering of death. These are limitations of human existence that even the most successful and happy people cannot avoid. But we don't need to view this only pessimistically. When we acknowledge and accept these limitations, we can actually gain deeper peace and freedom. When we accept the truth of impermanence, that everything changes, we can be free from attachment, and then true happiness becomes possible. Worry, anxiety, and suffering are mental pains. Anxiety about the future, regret about the past, dissatisfaction with the present. All of these are included here. These mental sufferings mostly arise because we can't see reality as it is and distort it through our prejudices and desires. Foolishness and ignorance refer to fundamental ignorance, not knowing who you are, what kind of place the world is, what true happiness is. This ignorance becomes the root of all suffering. But there's no need to despair. Buddha says there is a way to escape from all this suffering. Through supreme enlightenment, we can be liberated from all suffering. I hope you felt that the first stories of the Lotus Sutra that we've shared today aren't just old tales, but living wisdom that can be directly applied to our lives right now in this moment. The mysterious signs of the opening chapter tell us that when we're ready to meet genuine truth, the entire universe blesses us together. They tell us that even your small enlightenment can change the whole world. The wisdom of the skillful means chapter changes our way of communicating. It teaches us that thinking from the other person's perspective and expressing love in ways they can understand is true wisdom. The story of the burning house gives us courage. It tells us that there is a way to escape from the difficulties you're experiencing now, the unsolved problems, the repeated sufferings. And it tells us that this path isn't one you're dragged along by force, but one you walk because you want to. Most importantly, you are not alone. Buddha, who is the father of all living beings, and countless companions walking the same path are with you. There are those who understand your suffering, rejoice in your growth, and endlessly help you reach true happiness. As you finish today or start a new day, please have this kind of heart. Think that all the people you meet are also precious beings trying to escape from their own burning houses, and they too need appropriate, skillful means and warm love. And above all, be compassionate to yourself. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to take slow steps. What's important is the direction. If you're moving step by step toward deeper understanding and broader love, that's enough. Next time, we'll share deeper stories from the Lotus Sutra together. We'll explore the journey of discovering your true self that you didn't know existed, the story of a poor son returning to his real home, and the enlightenment about the rain of grace that falls on all beings without discrimination. Wherever you are right now, whatever situation you're in, I sincerely pray that the wisdom of the Lotus Sutra brings peace and hope to your heart. Thank you.